Ray Dalio says this market looks like 1929. Others are calling for a 90% collapse. And here's the strangest part. They might be right, and it still shouldn't change what you do. Because in every crash in history, the thing that destroyed people's wealth was never the crash. It was something else entirely. By the end of this, you'll know the exact math that decides who gets richer in a crash and who never recovers, plus a 3-layer system that turns the next one into the fastest accumulation phase your portfolio will ever see. And one more thing, where the market sits right now is more extreme than the doom videos are telling you. We'll get there. First, the math. Start with what compounding looks like when nothing goes wrong. You put $10,000 into the market and it grows 10% a year. Year 1, $11,000. Year 2, $12,100. Year 3, $13,310. You added nothing. The money made $3,310 on its own, because each year's gains start earning gains of their own. Now break it. A crash hits and your $13,310 drops 40%. You're sitting at $7,986. And here's the part almost nobody does the math on. To get back to where you were, you don't need the market to rise 40%. You need 67%. Losses and gains aren't mirror images. Lose 25%, and you need 33% to break even. Lose 40%, and you need 67%. Lose half, and you need to double your money just to get back to zero. The market can do that, and historically, it always has. But notice who that recovery belongs to. The market recovers. The person who sold at the bottom mathematically can't, because they locked in the small number and gave away the big one. So maybe you're thinking, fine, I won't sell at the bottom. I'll step out early and come back when the dust settles. JP Morgan ran that experiment on 20 years of real S&P 500 data, 2005 through 2024, roughly 5,000 trading days. $10,000 left completely alone became $71,750. Miss just the 10 best days out of those 5,000, and you end with $32,871, less than half the money from missing 10 days in 20 years. Miss the 60 best days, and you're down to $4,712, a loss in a market that multiplied 7 times over. And you can't dodge the crash days, but catch the recovery days, because they live in the same neighborhood. 7 of the 10 best days in that entire stretch landed within 2 weeks of the 10 worst. Sell in the panic, and you're standing outside during the rebound. The thing that destroys wealth in a crash was never the crash, it's the exit. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If exiting is off the table, what do you do about the crash that's coming? Because one is coming. It's practically on the calendar. Here's how regular this actually is. Since 1980, the market has dropped 10% or more roughly every 1.2 years. Since 1950, there have been 11 full bear markets, averaging a 33% decline and lasting about a year. And roughly once a decade, one gets violent. 2008 took the S&P down 57%. The dot-com bust took the Nasdaq down nearly 80%. COVID erased 34% in 5 weeks. A crash isn't an emergency, it's an appointment. The only unknowns are the date and the depth. Which brings us to that thing from the beginning, the part the doom videos are actually underselling. Look at the board as of July 2026. The Shiller CAPE ratio, a measure of how expensive stocks are relative to a decade of earnings, sits at 42.18. Its long-term median is around 16. The all-time record is 44.2, set in December 1999, months before the dot-com collapse. Today's market is priced above the 1929 peak, and the concentration is worse than the headline. The 10 biggest companies, led by Nvidia, Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Amazon, make up almost 40% of the entire S&P 500. At the dot-com peak, that number was 27%. Buying the index right now is a 10-stock bet wearing a diversification costume. Now the honest part, and this is where this video breaks from the doom wave, none of this is a timer. The CAPE has been above its historical average almost continuously since 2016, and the market roughly tripled anyway. Expensive can stay expensive for years, so the move isn't to flee, the move is to prepare. And preparation has 3 layers. The first one isn't even in the market. Layer 1 is a firewall, 3 to 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account, not in the market, next to it. Before you skip ahead because you've heard this one, notice what it's actually protecting. This isn't a savings tip. It's crash insurance for your compounding. Downturns are exactly when job losses and surprise expenses cluster. And if a crash hits your portfolio and your income in the same quarter, no buffer means selling stocks at the bottom to pay rent. That's the 67% trap from earlier, except this time, nobody panicked. You were forced. The firewall exists, so the math never gets to make that decision for you. And where it sits matters. Top high-yield accounts are paying around 4%, some over. The national average savings rate is 0.38%. Same money, same zero risk, roughly 10 times the interest for filling out one form. That's defense. Layer 2 is where the crash starts paying you. Layer 2 is automated investing, a fixed amount into the same broad index funds on the same date every month, no matter what the market is doing. Sounds boring. Watch what it does in a crash. Say you invest $300 a month into a fund trading at $30 a share. Month 1, you get 10 shares. Then the crash hits and the price halves to $15. Your same $300 now buys 20 shares. The recovery starts and the price climbs back to $22. That month buys you about 13.5 more. Add it up, $900 in, roughly 43.5 shares out at an average cost under $21 a share. In a flat market, that same $900 buys 30 shares at $30. The crash handed you more shares at a 30% discount, and you never had to guess the bottom. To your portfolio, a crash is a clearance sale. The vehicles are the usual suspects, broad low-cost index funds like VOO, SCHD, or QQQ, the same ones from the Starting Over portfolio video. But there's one non-negotiable, and it's the word automatic. Because when the market is down 30%, you will not want to buy. Nobody does. And that's the real enemy. Layer 3 exists because of a bug in your wiring. Behavioral economists have measured it. Losses hurt roughly twice as much as equivalent gains feel good. So the urge to sell peaks at the exact moment stocks are at maximum discount, when the math says the opposite, and the damage is measurable. Peter Lynch ran Fidelity's Magellan Fund from 1977 to 1990 and returned 29.2% a year, one of the best runs ever recorded. But here's something that should haunt every investor. The average person invested in his fund actually lost money. They bought in when performance was hot, they sold when the market dropped, they let emotions overwrite a strategy that was literally making 29% a year. Dalbar has tracked this gap for decades. In 2024, the average equity investor made 16.5%, while the S&P returned 25%. The second largest investor performance gap in the last decade. The gap explodes in exactly the years it hurts most. Over 30 years, the average equity investor trails the S&P by over 3.5%. The fix is a written plan, made while you're calm. What you own and why, your target mix, say 80% stocks, 20% bonds, what you'll do at minus 20% and minus 40%, decided in advance. The plan's one heavy lifting rule is rebalancing. A crash knocks your 80-20 to roughly 71-29, so you sell some of what held and buy what's cheap. Buying low, made mechanical. When fear is loudest, you don't decide anything, you read. So does any of this actually work when the sky falls? Run the tape. 2008, the S&P dropped 57%, the worst crash of the modern era. From the March 2009 bottom to the end of 2021, it rose roughly 600%. Every automatic purchase near that bottom multiplied 7 times over. 2020 COVID erased 34% in 5 weeks, the fastest crash in history. The market hit a new record high 5 months later. 2025, the S&P fell 10.5% in 2 days, $6.6 trillion gone, the largest two-day dollar loss ever recorded. New all-time high by June 27th, the same year. 3 crashes, different cause, different depth, different speed every time. Same ending every time so far. So come back to Dalio and the 90% crowd. Maybe they're right. Maybe the crash is closer than anyone thinks. And if you've built the firewall, automated the buying, and written the plan, that changes nothing. Because you already know exactly what you'll be doing while everyone else is finding out who they are. People who get rich in crashes aren't smarter. They decided what to do before it started. Now so have you. And keep the momentum going. Watch the only 3 ETFs you need to build wealth. It's on the screen. And remember, this isn't personal financial advice. It's information so you can build your own plan. See you on the next video.